All right, we have a few additional things on our program diagram that we want to make happen before we export this for use in SketchUp. So I'm still in my program diagram layer. I'm going to add a couple of play areas. These are going to be like really generic, not even like estimated in size. And when I come over here, if there's a little arrow in the corner, that means that there's more tools behind this initial top tool. And so I had used the rectangle tool to make the basketball courts. I used the pen tool to kind of make this amorphous shape for the rain garden. I don't need this one. I'm going to delete it. I want to make a couple playgrounds, so I'm just going to use the ellipse tool because that's kind of the generic. Like I know that a play area will fit in there. If I want to make it a perfect circle, I'm going to click and drag and I'm going to hit shift. See how that gives me that perfect circle area? So maybe I want to make like kind of a pavilion. I want to change the color to that one. I want these all to be kind of different colors. Whoops, change it enough for me. Go color. Like maybe a picnic area or a pavilion. Yeah, it's in the floodplain, but maybe it's got some cool like floodable features, or maybe I change the coastline. We'll do bright green for that one. And then I think I would just want the two play areas to be kind of the same. And then I might make another kind of like rain garden. I'm just going to copy and paste that. So now I have like some program elements and they're starting to make sense on the site. I can change the orientation for this one if I kind of want them to be side by side. So now this is starting to look like, all right, like this might actually be how we lay things out. Um, if I want to, I'm gonna just copy Control C and I'm gonna maybe like change the text in here, play, like a tot lot is 2 to 5 years. Um, and if I want, I don't really want this to be left justified. I want it to be center. So I'm just going to go up here to the paragraph options and then I can do that. And then I'm going to cut and copy it. And I'm going to do, you know, uh, 6 to 12. And that gives me like the older play area. And then I'm going to be, and this is just like pavilion. Okay, so now we have like basic program diagram. I haven't thought too much about this. Whoops. Okay, I have my spell check turned out. If you want to turn your spell check on or off, I think that's under edit. I love to have my auto spell check on because I don't want to accidentally spell something wrong and then have it come back. Okay, so now I have a couple of ideas about like where things are going to happen on site. I'm going to add another layer here and call that paths. Um, and I'm going to just, so right now we have this path down here. It kind of goes through this dock area. I'm okay with that. I'm going to add another path. I'm going to turn off the coastal lines because I think they're too much. Um, so I'm just gonna really diagrammatically like draw another path. So like this is gonna come up here. Actually, it looks like this path here is existing. So I'm just gonna grab this and draw a line and connect it to this path. And I'm gonna hit P to end that. And I want it to be the same thickness as this line. So I'm gonna hit the eyedropper and I'm going to click on that. And so now we've got the eyedropper button. And I realize it looks like I cut this path off. So I'm going to use my direct selection tool and then move that over. And then I'm going to hit my P and go up and go along the edge until I kind of get to there. And so now I've got like this additional sidewalk. I'm going to hit P to close that out. And then I want some paths through the site as well. So I think, we've got this like connection here. So I'm going to hit P And I'm gonna just kind of like do a path along here, and then I just want this to kind of meander through. I always try to assume, like I look at the most direct path and I try and think about like, are there going to be desire lines in the future? So are there going to be cut throughs that people start to make? So I'm going to give people a way to get to and from the best way possible. And then I want to do another one, and I'm just going to go. I kind of want this to be parallel, I kind of want it to be kind of ceremonial, and then, maybe it connects up to here. And I don't like the way that looks, so I'm gonna just kind of like bring this over and make sure it's parallel. I don't like the rain garden getting cut through, so I'm just gonna, I'm hitting V, and I'm just gonna move that down. Okay. And then I'm gonna draw a couple more paths, P for pen tool. I'm gonna go along the edge here, and we'll connect it here. See, I don't have any color right now, so I'm going to hit the eye. That's my eyedropper. And I'm just going to continue to draw a couple of paths as we go. There's my P tool again. So just desire paths wherever I see those being, problematic. And then I don't really like the way this curved, so I'm just going to grab this node here and move it back. And then I'll, maybe like add a couple of paths here. Um, mm, make it so that there's kind of like a walking path. And here. Okay, so now I have some paths. I'm going to connect this one down to, and all right, that looks pretty good to me. It's not perfect, but we'll clean it up in Illustrator. I'm going to do one more here. Okay, and then the other thing I want to do is I want to make a line of trees that goes along the edge here. So I'm going to draw one line right here, and that is going to become my line of trees. So I'm going to select it. I'm going to use this tool right here. I want it to be green. I like this green, so I'm going to use the eyedropper. But now instead of a stroke, it's a fill. So I'm just going to change it back to a stroke. I'm going to increase the density a lot. I want it to be like 10. Okay, so this is going to be my basis for the trees. I'm going to come over here to my stroke options. I'm going to make this a rounded edge. I'm going to make it into a dashed line. Because the weight is 12, I'm going to make this 0.1. So the line segments themselves are going to be 0.1. And then the distance between them, I want them to be kind of close together, but I want them to be far enough apart so that they read as circles. I'm going to put that as 14. And then I don't need this other bit here. So now I have what's going to read like a line of trees. And I'm just going to copy it and paste it and see how, because I didn't paste it in place, it just pasted it kind of in the middle there. But now I've got just sort of a very diagrammatic row of trees, and I can adjust it as needed. And maybe I want some trees around my basketball court. And if I don't want that in the middle of the street, so I'm going to kind of move it over. And this is kind of in the middle of the street, so I'm going to move it over. But that starts to, and this is telling me that I need to move my basketball courts down. So I'm going to do that. And now I'm ready to export. I'm going to save this. Always good to save your work. I can add more trees if I feel like it. But for right now, I think we're ready. So I'm going to hit File, Export, Export As. And I'm in my project folder, which is great. That's where I want to be. I'm going to export this as an Autodesk real DWG file. And I'm just going to hit export, and it's going to come up with some options. Scale 1:1. I can scale this so that it comes in as the scale that it is, because it's scaled 120 feet equals 1 inch. I would have to do times 12 times 120, that's 1440. Whoops, pardon me, 1440. So that's one way to do it. The other way to do it is just to keep it as 1 to 1, and I can show you how to scale it in SketchUp. So we'll do it that way. Your other option is to scale it as an export, but I like to do it this way because it gives me a little bit more control. So I'm going to hit OK, and that's it. And we'll come back and we'll open it in SketchUp.